हे गाइस, वेलकम टू द चैनल। आज के वीडियो में हम करेंगे क्लोजिंग डिस्क्लोजर डीप डाइव। लास्ट वीडियो में हमने बात करी थी रीफाइनेंस के बारे में। अगर आपने वो वीडियो नहीं देखी है तो देयर विल बी अ लिंक एट द टॉप। प्लीज़ गो एंड चेक आउट दैट वीडियो। दैट वुड गिव यू मोर कॉन्टेक्स्ट व्हाट वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट टुडे। क्योंकि आज के वीडियो में हम एक क्लोजिंग डिस्क्लोजर डॉक्यूमेंट को देखने वाले हैं। क्लोजिंग डिस्क्लोजर डॉक्यूमेंट इज़ वन ऑफ द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट डॉक्यूमेंट्स दैट अ लेंडर विल शेयर विद यू। इसमें आपके सारे लोन टर्म्स होते हैं, व्हाट इज़ योर इंटरेस्ट रेट, व्हाट काइंड ऑफ लोन टर्म इज़ देयर, एनी अदर क्लॉजेज इन द लोन, can you prepay the loan or not, what kind of points and credits you are getting for your loan, and what kind of fees and everything else that's associated with the loan. So basically it's kind of a snapshot or a summary of your loan, which is very important to go over. And the reason we are discussing this today is because there are certain aspects of this document that are more important than the others. A lot of times I see people fussing about not so important parts of the closing disclosure and totally ignoring the ones that are actually important and the ones you should be negotiating with your lender on. So today I will show you my closing disclosure document and highlight some of the important areas of this document which I would encourage you to focus more on while you are negotiating a loan with your lender. And everything here is mostly negotiable, and there are some aspects which are not negotiable and not so important, and your lender will also tell you that. So we will see all those things in detail in today's video. Alright, so ready for the deep dive? Let's get started. So this is how a closing disclosure document typically looks like. At the top left there will be some information when this document was issued, closing date क्या है, आपका लोन कब disburse होगा बैंक से, some information about the borrower, that is your name and your address, who the lender is, and what kind of a loan product you have selected, what's the loan term, like it is 30 years in my case. What's the product means आपने fixed 30-year fixed mortgage लिया है या it is an adjustable rate mortgage or any other product if the bank has to offer. In my case it is 7 years 6 month adjustable rate mortgage. इन प्रीवियस वीडियो मैंने बात करी थी कि क्यों मेरे को ARM मॉर्गेज ज़्यादा बेटर लगा मेरे यूज़ केस में, एंड इन दिस वीडियो हम थोड़ी सी बात और करेंगे इस बारे में कि मैंने क्यों 30 ईयर फिक्स ना लेकर के मैंने क्यों एडजस्टेबल रेट मॉर्गेज वाला लोन सेलेक्ट किया. सो वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. Depending on your use case, depending on your investment strategy, this might not be the best decision, but for me I will tell you in a bit why I took this loan. So this was the property value, that is $318,000. After appraisal, that's what my house value came in, and this is my loan amount, the money that the bank is lending me on this property. This is my interest rate. So this is a very good and very low interest rate, 2.375%. However, this is not a fixed loan, so ये 30 years तक ये सेम नहीं रहने वाला, ये 7 years तक फिक्स रहेगा और उसके बाद हर 6 महीने में ये मार्केट के हिसाब से एडजस्ट करेगा. एंड माई लेंडर इज़ नॉट अ टिपिकल बैंक. इट इज़ अ कंपनी दैट lends out the loans and they don't service their own loans. They outsource their servicing of the loan. Servicing of the loan is like आप अपनी मंथली पेमेंट्स कहाँ पे सबमिट कर रहे हैं. आर यू गिविंग योर मंथली पेमेंट्स टू अ बैंक और आर यू गिविंग योर मंथली पेमेंट्स टू समबडी एल्स. इन दिस केस दिस मॉर्गेज कंपनीज आउटसोर्सेज दैट सर्विसिंग पार्ट, सो आई मेक माई मंथली पेमेंट्स टू समबडी एल्स and not this mortgage company. So they just lend out and transfer the servicing of the loan to somebody else. It is very common. Mortgage companies do that all the time. So nothing to worry about that. I mean, if a mortgage company says we don't service our loans, that's not a red flag. It is very common practice for mortgage companies to do that. Alright, so this is my monthly payment, including my interest. So monthly P&I, that is principal and interest. So this is what my payment comes out to be at this rate of interest. And there are other conditions as well, which are written like, can this amount be increased? No. So these are all important, very very important terms. So that's why these are mentioned at the top, or font be bold hai, highlighted hai. So of course these terms are important. What the loan you are taking, what's your interest rate, what's your monthly payment. So of course these are the basic loan terms, so these are very important. Definitely you need to pay attention to this. Okay, going further, in my case, as I told you, like फर्स्ट 7 years तक पेमेंट सेम रहने वाली है. सो ईयर्स 1 to 7, दैट्स वाई दे से ईयर्स 1 to 7 का मंथली पेमेंट आपका ये रहेगा. ईयर 8 ऑनवर्ड्स दिस विल बी माई मिनिमम मंथली पेमेंट, एंड this can go as high as $1,700 for principal and interest. They cannot project accurately what kind of taxes I will be paying क्योंकि वो वेरिएबल रहता है, बट it is always an estimated tax amount. So अगर नीचे वाला सबसे नीचे वाला column देखें तो it is an estimate. It is not an accurate projection of taxes, but more or less this might be my estimate. So they are carrying the same estimate forward, but this will never be the case. Your escrow also goes up because you pay more and more taxes. Mostly you pay more taxes every year. So this payment is going to go up. This will not remain $360 for me. But yeah, year 8, then year 9, and then year 10 onwards. So in my case it is since I told you it's an adjustable rate mortgage, so only first 7 years is a fixed monthly payment. उसके बाद हर 6 महीने payment based on what the current market rate is, the bank will revise my payment. However, there is a cap to it. Like ऐसा भी नहीं है कि वो सीधा rate of interest 20% करते हैं जिसमें मैं लोन ही नहीं दे पाऊँगा. There is a cap to it, so it cannot go beyond a certain point, so which in this case is $1,700. So मैंने ऐसा क्यों किया? Obvious reasons. 7 years is a good amount of time. I am pretty confident that within those 7 years I will refinance and take cash out of this property, or I might also consider selling this property based on how the market evolves. So I do not intend to run this loan forever. That's why I chose a super low interest rate for the first 7 years, and I'm okay with them increasing that interest rate according to the market when the time comes. And when the time comes, I will refinance out of this loan, as I'm not going to pay $1,700 as a monthly payment on this loan. So that's not my intention. So I knew what I was doing before I was getting into this loan. So this is not for everybody, but if you are certain that this is going to be your investment strategy, this is a very smart move, I would say, because otherwise if I would have taken a fixed rate mortgage, I was not getting a rate lower than 2.875. So there was a huge difference with what I was getting with the ARM product versus the fixed 30-year mortgage. Once again, if you have to pay down the loan fully, if you want to run the loan for 10 years, 15 years, a fixed mortgage might make sense for you. But for me, that was not the case. Alright, we also touched briefly about mortgage insurance. So since I do not have 20% equity in the property yet, if you see, my property value was only $318 and I took a loan of $275. So this is way less than 20%. So 20%, I will need to come up with $64,000 out of my pocket, and I don't have that kind of money. And also on the primary home, you don't need to come up with that kind of money, because you can take up to 95% of your home's worth as a loan on your primary mortgage. And if you're a first-time home buyer, it can be as low as 3%. So, but you can do this only on your primary home, not on your investment property. On your investment property, you have to come up with 20 to 25% at times with your own money, and the bank will only lend you to 75% or 80% of the property's value. But for primary home, again, that number is up to 95%. So I was able to get this loan refinance. So this was my balance, and my property had appreciated by not much, but $20,000 since I bought it. So that adds to the equity, and that reduces my monthly mortgage insurance by a little bit. It is $78 now. Earlier I was paying upwards of $150 per month. So that was a good $70 reduction in my mortgage insurance per month. So that also reduced. And this is total waste of my money, because I am buying insurance for my bank. Basically, I'm insuring my bank's interest by paying $78 every month. So the lower this mortgage insurance is, that the better it is for me. If I had 20% equity in my house, I would be paying zero as mortgage insurance. So this payment would go away. However, to make mortgage insurance zero, like to make this $78 to zero, I have to come up with a lot of money. I mean, if we do a quick calculation here, how much money I would have to give if I want to reduce the $78 to zero. So 318 minus 275, I'm doing a ballpark number. So $43,000 right now is the equity in my house. So to get to 20%, I would have to come up with $64,000, right? So if I reduce those numbers, so I would have to give $21,000 more out of pocket if I want to get this number at zero, and it absolutely doesn't make any sense for me to do that, because the moment I reach to 20% equity, this will anyways go to zero. So just to save $78, I don't need to come up with cash of $21,000, and it takes a lot of time to save that kind of money. So I am better off paying this mortgage insurance every month. Okay. So this is going to be my estimated monthly payment. It will always say estimated, because again, taxes are variable. You cannot be sure what kind of taxes you will pay every year, so they change. All right, so again, These are your estimated taxes, insurance and assessments. Again, you don't need to fuss about this number because this is an estimate. It changes every year, so this is not so important. Your important numbers are the principal and interest, the mortgage insurance that you are going to pay. So that's another important number. Okay, so going further, in the next section there is these loan costs. Now this is an important section of the document. The first one is origination charges. Most of the lenders will have a loan origination charges which will range from somewhere around 1% to 2% of your loan amount. In my case, my lender did not have any points or any loan origination charges, but this is a very, very important section. So if you remember, in the previous video I was talking about points and credits that you get for selecting a interest rate. So this is where it will be mentioned. If I'm paying points, that means I'm paying money upfront to buy down my interest rate. So for example, they might say that I'm giving you 2.375% rate of interest, but if you want 2% rate of interest, why don't you give us $5,000 upfront and we can have the rate of interest reduced to 2% for the term of your loan. So that might be a smart move if you want to run your loan for a long term. But again, as I said, personally I do not like paying points to bring down the interest rate, because I would refinance out of this loan much earlier than this upfront payment would start making sense for me. So ये वाला सेक्शन थोड़ा ध्यान से एनालाइज करें. यहाँ पे देखें आप कि आप क्या पॉइंट्स पे कर रहे हैं या क्या क्रेडिट्स आपको लेंडर दे रहा है. कई बार लेंडर आपको कहते हैं कि ओके, आई विल इंक्रीज योर इंटरेस्ट रेट बट आई विल गिव यू $2,000, राइट. आई विल इंक्रीज योर इंटरेस्ट रेट बाय लेट्स से 0.25% एंड गिव यू $2,000. सो यू हैव टू सी इफ दैट मेक्स सेंस फॉर यू एज वेल, क्योंकि $2,000 आपको अपफ्रंट मिल रहे हैं बट आप $20 पर मंथ लेट्स से एक्स्ट्रा monthly आप अपने lender को दे रहे हैं. So that also might make sense for you. So all I'm saying this, just analyze this point, do your math, don't get lured into a lower interest rate by paying ridiculously high points. I would never recommend that to you. Alright, the next section is services borrower did not shop for. These are like the third party services like appraisal fee, credit report, flood certification, title, attorney fee and all those fees. So you can go out in the market and get a lower quote on these fees, or if you already have a preferred attorney and a title company which you know is reasonable and value for money, you can go with them. So the lender doesn't force you to do business with these third parties. Sometimes these third parties are an extension of the lender, or the lender prefers to work with these third parties. I did not shop for these services, but you can save a few $100s by shopping for these services. Personally, I do not shop for these services because the market is competitive and you will end up saving $100 or maximum $200. But if you still want to shop around, you can shop around for these services and save some money. Usually it was not worth my time, so I did not do that myself. But again, this is something which the lender doesn't control much. So you don't negotiate with the lender on these numbers. So these numbers are important but not a negotiable item from the lender, because they are not taking these fees. These are all third party fees. So if the lender is working with third parties that are a bit expensive, you can propose your own third parties that, hey, I want my attorney to be this company instead of this company. Usually the lender will not let you choose your appraiser because they have tie-ups with appraiser companies, but other third parties, they will most likely let you choose. So basically this is pretty much where your extra costs get defined. If you go into the next section, that's the other costs. This section has the taxes and government fees and the prepaids, initial escrow payment at closing. Go through them, but these are not important and negotiable items, because taxes, the lender doesn't control the government taxes. You will have, no matter what lender you choose, you will have to pay taxes, right? And mostly these are estimates, so you do not compare these and make a decision on the loan. You have to compare the points that the lender is charging, the credits that he is giving to decide if the loan is a good loan or not, but not on these. So based on different lenders, this number might be different, but again, these are prepaid items. These you will pay anyway. So this is again not a negotiable thing, or don't get excited if this is low with one lender and high with other. So this is again an estimate. Okay, so going further down, these are the total other costs that will be paid by me. This is just a total of the costs that were listed above. And then finally, this is total closing costs. Important number here, it is the sum total of your prepaid items and the items that were not prepaid, that were the loan costs. So it's a sum total of both. Here at the last, if lender has given you any credits. For me it was $1,700 given as credits. Again, this is an important number, and this number is negotiable. Sometimes a lender will sweeten the deal by giving you more credits. So they might say, okay, we know our origination fee is high, so we are offsetting that fee by giving you, let's say, $2,000 in credits to beat the other quote that you might have presented to them. So that's why I said always get 3 quotations from different lenders. They have ways to match and beat the other person's quote, but they will only do so if you present them with a quote, right? Okay, so going forward towards the end, this is the final numbers, that is calculating the cash to close. This section is the final calculation, that this is the amount of money that you have to bring to the table at your closing. When I say bring to the table, that means you have to escrow and wire the funds to an account. You don't really bring cash to the table on the deal. I mean, it will be fun, but no, you put all the money into an account of a third party, which is called an escrow account. Bank also wires their funds into an escrow account, and then the payments are made to the seller from that escrow account. So there is a third party that manages all the funds in the transaction. All right, so in my case, this was the total cash to close. So I paid $3,878 and minus the lender credit, so I ended up paying $1,875 to refinance. So in my case, all this $1,870 was pretty much covering all the taxes and the fee that are mandatory, and I did not pay a lot of money to originate this loan. So by paying close to $1,900, I was able to reduce my monthly payment from a ballpark of $1,650 to $1,508. So that was a good $140 to $150 per month reduction in my payment. And I paid $1,900 to refinance. So I'm recovering this in 1.5 years of time. And in the previous video, I mentioned that I usually consider 2 years to 3 years as a sweet spot of break even. And this is even better. I'm breaking even well before 2 years. So this is a good deal for me. So that's why I went ahead and refinanced this property at this low interest rate. Okay, and after this cash to close section, there is other additional information about the loan. These are the terms and conditions, like partial payments, does the loan allow partial payments or not. So these are the terms of your loan, and you can go through them, but more or less pretty much this is where the meat is. And towards the end, there is the loan calculations, that if you run the loan long enough, these are the kind of payments you will end up making. All right, I think we covered pretty much everything and the important aspects as well. So the cash to close is important, but how you're arriving to cash to close is very, very important. And the main section is your loan cost, origination cost, whatever the fee, extra fee you are paying to the lender, those are the negotiable items. What are the credits they are giving you to, sweeten the deal? So that is also very important. Alright, so that concludes our closing disclosure deep dive. I hope you enjoyed the video and found this information useful. Do let me know in the comments if you have any questions. I thank you for watching this video to the very end. Once again, please like and share this video. Also subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I will see you in the next video. Until then, take care, stay safe, and keep dreaming.